Huzzah, Rangers! This is Phil Harris here at the Jax Rangers Show. I am joined with a very, very special guest this time around. His name is LeRoux Malan. He is a center for your New England Free Jacks and also the Namibian national team. LeRoux, how the hell are you?
I'm good, thanks, Phil. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to
You're
be on.
welcome. Thank you for being on here so much. Love the mustache. As I was telling you off camera, I think it looks really, really good. I'm glad you're rocking that just like me.
100%. That's where my inspiration comes from, man.
There you go. Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. Keep it going. It looks great. I wanted to ask you, obviously, first of all, we got to address the whole injury situation. You know, we were looking to see how you were doing and holding up after your injury that you sustained during the World Cup. Just give us an update about that.
Yeah, World Rugby was great. I got my operation basically 3 hours after injury. I
Wow.
wasn't even put under. So yeah, it literally took an hour in and out, and then ever since then, I was in hospital for 3 days, and then I made my way back home. So yeah, I've been under the care of my loving parents and
That's great.
siblings. So yeah, it's been amazing being back home and reconnecting with them.
So glad that you were able to get that done very quickly. So you had the operation, and your hospital stay was in France, there at the World Cup, and then you made your way back to South Africa. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm in Paul right now. It wasn't to lose, and yeah, as I said, they took good care of me.
Good, good. Glad to hear that for sure. We had the whole, rugby community worldwide held their breath when you got injured. And, talk about the outpouring of support that you received since that injury. Obviously, we saw the All Blacks captain, I believe it was, came and visited you in the hospital there. Just kind of talk about all of that outpouring of support you received.
Yeah, seriously, I've never in my life experienced something like this. It was ridiculous. For the 3 days that I was in hospital, I seriously only replied to text messages. And
Right.
it's just such a blessing having so many people reach out. I gained like 2,000 Instagram followers.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's ridiculous. My account's been reached by like 60,000 people, and
Incredible.
it's just been insane, man. And it's just so awesome to have so many loving and caring people around. Even people from primary school, people reaching out to my parents, my brother, my
Mhm.
sisters. It's been ridiculous. So yeah, just blessed that that's been the case.
Yeah, I mean, you might wanna look into getting some endorsement deals now that you've got so many new Instagram followers, right?
100%. Let's hope for the best.
Absolutely. If any, companies out there wanna sponsor LaRue with their products, give them a shout out or send them a DM. The hashtag with Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, all
sorry.
good.
The hashtag with you LaRue has been used for anyone that wants to send well wishes or words of encouragement to LaRue in his recovery. So if anyone out there watching this wants to send a photo or video, you can message the show, the Jax Rangers show, and we will get it out on our socials, or directly you can just post it on your socials. There has been some positive news regarding your injury. Tell us about that. It was kind of like a close call there at the beginning, but it turns out that it wasn't as bad as it seemed.
Yeah, when I saw my leg, I honestly thought it was the worst case scenario. It's very freaky seeing your leg or your ankle shaped in that way.
Right.
Um, but yeah, post surgery, the doctor told me it would only be 4 to 6 months recovery time, which is
Wow.
honestly the best possible scenario from
Yeah.
what happened. So yeah, just there's so many silver linings to this injury, and I think 4 to 6 months is anything I could have hoped for having my ankle in that position.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people just assumed automatically that you would be done for at least a year based
So,
on, just the horror of the injury. When we saw it, it was just like, oh, I mean, he's going to be done for a while. But I mean, it seems like things are looking up for sure in terms of the diagnosis of, the rehabilitation and the road to recovery is not nearly as long. You are teammates, of course, with Win Conradi, who's also your Free Jacks teammate and your Namibian teammate. Has he spoken with you since the injury, and what did he have to say?
yeah, we've been speaking. He obviously feels very sorry for me, especially in the manner that it's happened.
Yeah.
But he also unfortunately picked up a niggle. That's why he didn't play in the last game.
Mhm.
So I think Namibia's been unfortunate with all these injuries. But yeah, obviously his support means a lot, and we've been in contact, and hopefully we'll link up soon.
Absolutely. One of the best players in the forward, and you're one of the best players in the backs for the New England Free Jacks. So cool that you guys were able to at least play for a little bit there with Namibia at the World Cup. What's the road to rehabilitation look like for you in terms of just getting back to rugby fitness and being 100%? What does it involve entirely?
Yeah, so I spoke to Mike Bonapane, obviously from the Free Jacks, and their advice would be to be off foot, to not put pressure on the foot for about 8 to 12 weeks,
Okay.
just for more support and better support for the ankle.
Mhm.
And then from there, I'm pretty sure I'll probably start jogging. I guess rehab would probably be another 2 to 3 months after
Mhm.
that. So it's looking like end of November I'll be able to walk again, and then rehab would obviously just be start off with some flexibility and some movement with the ankle, just getting
Mhm.
some range back, and then probably strength after that once I can put pressure on the foot.
I mean, I think that's encouraging to hear for Free Jacks fans who are eagerly awaiting, your potential return to the team. Now, in previous years, that seems like late December after Christmas is when most of the folks would be arriving for preseason. Then in January, kind of working their way up, and then obviously February was generally when the schedule would be in full mode at that point. But I'm hearing that the season might be pushed up a little bit, so we'll just kind of have to see. I'm sure you'll be making the journey over if you continue with the Free Jacks during the same time frame, but we might not see you at the beginning of the season, but hopefully later on. Kind of eerily similar to when you broke your hand at the beginning
Yeah,
of the preseason last year, and it took a
yeah.
while for you to get going with the team there. So very interesting for sure. Obviously, not how you wanted to end the World Cup. But what was the experience like prior to the New Zealand game? How did France do in hosting it, and did you have a lot of fun?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, it's what every rugby boy dreams of as a child. So,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, such a big blessing to be participating and representing a country at the national stage.
Yes.
Regarding the World Cup itself, we were treated like royalty. Everything is timely. All the transport was ridiculous. Like just everything is on point and on
Mhm.
time. And then regarding the hotels, the people really genuinely cared. I love the French people as well. Our home base was in Aix-les-Bains, which
Okay.
is a town in the French Alps, and it was absolutely gorgeous. The people were seriously
Nice.
welcoming. The outpour of support was incredible. So
Yeah.
yeah, overall a lovely experience.
You got some MLR teammates, not only just Wien, but multiple teammates that play in the MLR there on the Namibian side. Who are some guys that aren't on MLR teams right now that you think would be great in the MLR setting, or specifically the New England Free Jacks? Like, is there some teammates you're like, man, he would do really, really well with New England?
Yeah, I think a player like Divan Rousseau, who's got some Super Rugby experience, he's
Mhm.
represented the Lions and the Blue Bulls. I think he'd be a great fit for our team. He plays fullback. Then other players such as Johan Retief, who's very versatile,
Mhm.
flanker, lock. Yeah, and then I think guys like Adrian Boyson is obviously quite impressive for Dallas. So yeah, a few of those players can fit in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Johan Retief, Divan Rousseau, definitely a few names to mention.
I mean, when you were mingling with those guys, the internationals for Namibia, did they ask you about MLR?
Yeah, of course.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we speak about the different types of leagues. Coming from Namibia, we all play for leagues all over. Some players
Mhm.
play in Romania, some play in Russia. So,
Sure.
yeah, a lot of people ask out about the MLR and what it's like. And obviously, I can only be a good advocate for the MLR because I love it over there. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
we speak about it quite often.
Very good. I hope to see a lot more in Namibian internationals making their way over to MLR. I think that'd be awesome. I mean, there's quite a few already, but more the merrier, I guess. I got to ask you about the Haka, right? Like the game obviously didn't end well for you, but that's got to be wild to be watching that just a couple, feet away from that taking place. What was your feeling like? Were you intimidated? Were you fired up? Like, was it a mix of both? What did that feel like?
Yeah, fired up, I'd say. I couldn't stop licking my lips. um, I just didn't want to make eye contact with any one of them. I just tried to look all over, seeing what it's
Right.
like. But honestly, I just had the jitters. I couldn't stand still, and I was honestly just so fired up to face them.
Yeah, man. Like that is like one of the most famous, if not the most famous, whatever you want to call it, challenge, whatever in the entire of sports. So, I mean, I could not imagine. It had to be like a once in a lifetime opportunity for sure. And like, man, unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you that you got to experience that. Obviously, it didn't work out how you wanted it to, but man, that was so must have been really, really cool. And, we've been wishing you the best of luck. All of our guys that are playing, we got 3 players on the Free Jacks that are playing in the World Cup right now. We always, wish you guys well and stuff like that. So let's rewind back, though. I wanted to talk about the success of the Free Jacks for a moment because we are MLR champions. For those that may not know that are watching this, I'm sure everybody does. But let's rewind back to the MLR final in Chicago. Walk me through that game-winning try that will live on forever in the history of the Free Jacks. Like, take me step by step.
Oh, man, I mean, obviously we were just pushing and pushing and pushing,
Yep,
and I guess I'll always see rugby as a team sport, so I
yep.
think it was a great, great team effort, obviously.
Yes.
I just found myself in the right place at the right time. I mean, the
Mhm.
pass from Johnny Poland uh, was a good one, and it beat the opponent. So, I mean, once I had it in my hands and saw Nonu shoot up, I knew there was going to be a gap. So, yeah, I mean, just put my head down and went straight for the try line. And obviously, after that, I was just so stoked. I mean,
Oh,
obviously,
man.
this is the lead and there's not a lot of time left, so it was just more relief, but also obviously it was such a great feeling.
I believe Ranger John had a premonition that you would be scoring the game-winning try. Like that's pretty good right there. Like he might have the
Unreal.
shining or something like that, some sort of supernatural ability to predict the future. But looking back on it all, like when it happened, you're almost numb to the possibility that we won. So it took a while for me to kind of like just decompress and kind of like just go through everything that took place. And when I think about it, LeRoux, I have to say you're like one of the best players that we have. I mean, like, obviously, like I appreciate you being on the show, and I'm always nice to the people that we have on the show. But truly, you are a star boy for the Free Jacks. Like every time you have the ball, man, something magical is going to happen. So it always needed to be your. It almost seemed like it should have been you to begin with to get that game-winning try. And it makes me think of last season, or excuse me, 2 seasons ago at this point, when you scored the game-winning try against New York at New York when we had so many fans there, and it was unreal. And this was just times 10. You know what I mean? So like it makes so much sense that it was you to score the game-winning try in the final. And I'm just so elated for you. And I think you're a type of guy that like we're lucky to have you in the Free Jacks. I think you're going to do great, great things in rugby. But I'm so, so happy that you chose the Free Jacks initially, and so glad that you're continuing with us. And we'll get to that in a few moments because that's one of the things that I definitely want to talk about in a moment. But yeah, man, I just think you're fantastic, dude. And you're super, super nice to us as well. Like you're a true friend of the show. You're always chatting us up and stuff like that. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, Phil. That means the world, man. I
You're
mean,
welcome.
I'm just as grateful as you guys are for me. You guys are incredible and what you guys do for the Free Jacks as an organization. And also just like regarding the injury, you guys have been incredible. Seriously, the output of love and support has been ridiculous. And I'm just as blessed to be playing for the Free Jacks. I'm glad they chose me, man. It's honestly just been surreal and such a blessing. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, man. All shucks. Like let's talk about some other stuff here because I'm gonna get a little teary eyed.
Yeah, getting emotional here, man.
What was going through your mind at the final whistle? Obviously, you scored the game-winning try, but it wasn't over at that point. Final whistle blows. What goes through your mind there in Chicago?
We won. We're world champs, baby. I mean, I was just battered, man. I couldn't
Yeah,
breathe. I had a stinging shoulder. So it's not all love. Everyone just wanted to hug me, and I was just out here giving like half hugs. But
right.
no, honestly, it was just so evident for all the work we put in, and it's just honestly a monkey off the shoulder to win it. It's just such a relief, and
Hmm.
the breath of happiness, just pure joy, just knowing like all these boys sacrificed so much to be
Yep.
here
Yep.
from all over the world, and we all bought in and fought the whole season, not
Yep.
just for oneself but for each other. So it's just
Hmm.
honestly just pure joy, man. It was awesome.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, when we got on the field, man, like, it was just it was so surreal. It felt like a dream to a certain extent
Mm.
because, like, I knew that we could definitely win this game, but we were certainly underdogs, and I felt like, man, San Diego was so good and they were playing so well throughout the whole year. So for us to win, it just felt numb at first. But then, like, when we were on the pitch celebrating with everybody, I just wanted to make a point to, like, everybody that I saw that recognized me. I just wanted to give them a hug and say, "Can you believe this? We're world champs." All of that sort of stuff, the cliche stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that is one of those things that I will always, always remember. And a ton of Free Jacks fans, the lucky ones that got the chance to be there in Chicago and the ones that were watching at home, they'll never forget that moment, that first championship. But now that it's all over, it's like, man, I want to go do it again. Like, let's hope that we have a great team, as I'm sure that we will. Let's go win it again and hoist the shield 2 times in a row. That would be so sick. That's historic stuff for sure.
Yeah, back to back, baby. We all
Hell
want it.
yeah. Hell yeah.
To me, it was also a dream. Hey, seriously, I think because I flew out the next day or 2 days later to join Namibia, seeing all the boys celebrate with the bus parade or the
Yeah.
NFL walkouts or Patriots going to Gillette Stadium and all of
Mhm.
that, I was honestly very, very jealous. But to me, it also still hasn't sunk in. And I honestly think when I reunite with some of the boys, it'll only be like, yo, this is unreal. Or maybe when we get some bling or something, our world
Right.
championship day.
That definitely has to happen. I'm sure that that's in the works for sure. If it's not already, they've got it somewhere tucked away at the headquarters there at the Mint. The championship rings. I imagine the first home game is when those will be presented, if they are, and I'm sure they will be. But
Yeah.
let's talk about what was the biggest difference in the squad that lost to New York in that heartbreaking fashion there in the Eastern Conference Championship the year prior to winning and hoisting the shield this past season. What was the biggest difference in the two teams, do you think?
Experience, I'd say. Top one, I think a lot of the boys have already played playoff rugby and knew what it's all about.
Mhm.
And secondly, I think our S&T department had an absolutely huge role to play to keep us really fit and prepared throughout the rest of the season. They respected us as players so much and honestly just genuinely cared for what we wanted. So I think those 2 points were absolutely major points to contributing to the win.
100%. The locker room culture. It felt like we were a little concerned at the beginning of the season because so many guys didn't get retained, whether they got opportunities elsewhere or got traded or whatever took place. We were a little worried that the culture of the locker room wouldn't carry over, but it certainly did in a big way. Like the Canadian boys that came over were just a
Oh,
plus for
massive,
sure. With
huge.
keeping the culture going, like that's so important. Like winning, obviously you have to have the best players possible to make sure that you have a good chance of winning. But if you guys love each other in the locker room and you'll do anything for each other, that just goes on. Like it's the extra 1 or 2% that's necessary for success. That really felt evident in the locker room. And when I saw you guys, like you guys really, really cared for each other. It wasn't just a professional setting where we're getting paid, so we're just here to play rugby and just go home back to our home nations or wherever the hell we came from at the end of the year. Like it felt like there was a common goal and you guys really appreciated each other and were willing to make the sacrifices to get over the line and finish on top.
100%.
Yeah.
I think a major part was also that there was so much competition. I mean, all the replacements were like for like. It's sort of like the Springbok squad at the moment at the World Cup now. I mean, Wayne van der Bank can step into my position and he could start every other week. Like he could be in Emalotsing of the week for that week. And same with so many other players. So that was also awesome. I think the trust in one another, like knowing, cool, someone else can step up. We can raise bodies and have full faith. I mean, look what we did against Seattle, the second last game. It was like absolutely awesome, man.
Yeah, I was at that game, made that trip out there, and that was one of the best moments I've ever had in an MLR experience, in a Free Jack experience, going across the country. And those guys, they've experienced success. Those fans, they're pretty much numb to it at this point because their team has been so good. And for us to come in there with maybe not our best, roster available and still beat them, it felt like, oh man, this team is really, really serious. Like we've had a good record up to that point, and we're heading into the playoffs. We could definitely take our foot off the gas and maybe not win this game, but maybe have a good showing. But to go in there and win, and pretty, I mean, it was pretty convincing there towards the end that the Free Jacks were the better squad. That just filled me with confidence, and I'm sure it helped the team a lot in terms of their confidence heading into the playoffs. Like, we could really do some damage here in the postseason. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep. And in terms of the depth, like you were talking about, that is so crucial. I was a little concerned about that, just being a skeptic of like, if everybody's really good, like there could be some problems with chemistry and stuff like that. But you guys put all of that aside. We're just like focus on the common goal, as I was saying earlier. Let's move on. Have you heard from TK, Scott, Matthew, or Mags? If so, what did they say to you?
Yeah, of course. Scott obviously reached out after the injury. TK as well. I mean, the Free Jacks, and as I said, you guys as well have been absolutely incredible throughout this injury. Really made me feel loved and wanted, which is awesome. But yeah, I've spoken to TK about seeing out my rehab and stuff like that. So there's a good chance that I might be returning to America soon, which is awesome. And yeah, we've just been speaking about the great season. We got our season review the other day, which was awesome. And yeah, just been speaking about how life's going and potential for next year and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And so the season review is just like a recap of what took place and like your personal performances and stuff like that with Scott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. What do you miss most about New England?
The rugby. The culture, man. And also about New England itself, I honestly love the people. Seriously, I love the sports culture. I love Boston, man. Boston is an awesome city. You just feel happy and alive there, you know? The people just genuinely care. There's so much variety in different places to go to. So yeah, I mean, Boston summer, I didn't do too much this year, which I'm sad about, but I'm quite excited to see America in the fall, if that be so. And I know Boston's absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, very excited.
Absolutely. Just a little bit like an hour ride north, and you've got like heaven on earth in the fall. Like when the leaves change over, man, or it's going to be like a couple weeks from now. Like it is, you're just like, I cannot believe this seems like a perfect picture everywhere that I look. So, you know, I'm not from this area, but I was blessed to, you know, decide to move up here and have no plans of leaving. There's just something really, really special about New England. You know, the people are fantastic. It's beautiful here. So I'm glad that you have that kind of same experience, that you appreciate this area very much and are excited to get back up here for sure. You know, I'm going to harp back a little bit about what we talked about a moment ago where I got a little teary-eyed. I've always said that you're a special player, and the Jacks and the Rangers should enjoy you while you're still with us with New England, because you're destined for bigger and better things in rugby. With that being said, can we expect you back in the red, white, and blue in 2024? We're kind of dancing around the issue. I just wanted to ask you straight out.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's set in stone, but I think there's a real good possibility regarding how my injury goes and all of that. But as I said, I've been speaking to TK them, and you know, there's been so many silver linings because of this injury. I mean, I had a few tough decisions probably to make post World Cup, and those decisions have already been made for me now. So that in itself, I can just put my head down and focus. I mean, rugby is a very vulnerable and very, it can change at any moment. Seriously, at any given moment, like within a day or a week. So it's nice to sort of know what lies ahead for the next year. Well, potentially lies ahead, but there's a good chance. There's a real good chance.
Well, that's encouraging to hear. Obviously, you know, we want to have you back selfishly, but you know, there are greater opportunities. You know, I'm sure all of our fans understand that around the world, other than just playing for the New England Free Jacks. So if you come back, that's great. If you don't, we'll be rooting you on, as we always do. The former Free Jacks, once a Free Jack, always a Free Jack, as we like to say around here. So we're wishing you the best of luck. I wanted to open up the floor here to let you speak directly to the Rangers, the hardcore Free Jacks fans, the loyal listeners to this show. What message do you have for them specifically as we close out the interview?
Well, just seriously, thank you for everything. I know all the effort you guys put in, all the work you guys put in. You guys are absolutely advocates for the community and New England rugby and the growth thereof. And I mean, you guys bring the vibe every single Saturday. You guys put so much work in to have our crowd probably be the best crowd in the league. So, yeah, just appreciate you, gents, and looking forward to what's to come as well.
Listen, LeRoux, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much. We've been thinking about you for sure, sending good vibes across the ocean to you there in France and now in South Africa, just hoping for the best and hoping for a very, very great recovery and get you back to 100%. And if you do make your way over here at some point soon again, make sure you come up to New Hampshire. It's beautiful up here. And yeah, and hopefully we'll see you back in red, white, and blue. But if not, you know what, man? You made a hell of a great run, and you're a legend if you don't continue with the Free Jacks. But yeah, you're a great person. We appreciate you very much. Thank you, LeRoux. We got one word to exit the video, and you know what it is. In 3, 2, 1, huzzah!